Welcome to the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast with host Jacqueline Burke. Today's special guest is Tracy Houde.
Welcome, Tracy. Thank you for joining our podcast today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to start today off by asking you a little bit about your childhood. So what did little Tracy want to be when she grew up?
Originally, I think in elementary school, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then as I got older and realized the kind of grades and competition that came with becoming a vet, I looked, actually, I was drawn into emergency medicine and I wanted to work as a medic.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I wanted to go. But it's not really where I ended up. It took a little while to figure out what it was that was the driving force as to why I needed to be in where, seconds counted, right?
Yeah.
Definitely not that I have a hero complex, but wanted to make sure that whatever I was doing made that person's day better than when I first saw them. So being part of the solution, not part of the problem, is kind of really what drives me.
Well, that's good. Wonderful. So you take that into your career today.
I do. It's actually how I ended up landing where I'm at in my, grown up professional career. Is I had worked at a job for 10 years and probably hated 7 of the 10.
Oh, yeah.
But we do what we do because we're stuck there. Or it's not that we're stuck. I'm from the generation where you went to work and it just didn't matter. You didn't have to you needed a paycheck. You needed to be, longevity, long tenured. There really wasn't anything such as, toxic work environments or workplace harassment was kind of a new thing. But again, I watched my mom and dad work at the same careers and just kind of moved up the ladder, right? So that's when I left that job of 10 years. It was when my marriage had failed. My whole world was changing, so might as well change it all, and thought, this was a good time to go back to school. And at that time, being a medic was first and foremost. So I looked into it and I set it all up. Like, here's what I need for this training, to go and become an EMR. And then I'm going to work as an EMR while I wait to go to school as an EMT. And then I'm going to go and become a paramedic. That was kind of the game plan. But I was a single mom at that time, raising teenage daughters. My girls were 9 and 12.
And how long ago was that?
17 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so, once kind of digging into it, single mom with teenage daughters working night shift was not conducive to raising children. I didn't have to bail, out of jail, which I know sounds really terrible. And I'm probably going to get hate mail for that. But teenage daughters with no rule. It's not that they didn't have rules. They had rules, but I was 15, 16, 17 too. So not having, not being at home during that time, where they're starting to really look at who they are, test boundaries, that kind of thing, was really not conducive. So I did actually go into the medical field. Excuse me. I took I took a job similar to what I had left. And had offered my boss 2 years and said, I'll give you 2 years. And then by then my kids are going to be old enough, things will be settled and I'm going back to school. I've been at my job now for 15 years, just over 15, coming on 16, with zero intention of having been here this long, but here I am.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It took a little bit of time to I have really great bosses. So they were really good at, friendly exploiting talents, and helped me to learn that what was at my core value, what my driving force is exactly that. I need to be in a service type position where I am serving people. Didn't matter what it was. I didn't need to be ankle deep in blood and bones and guts and all that kind of stuff to make a difference. So I have grown within the employment field, became an employment specialist, program lead, and helped people find work. And we didn't see them on their best days. But my goal was for them to always feel better when they left.
That's good.
Kind of the Coles Note version of how I got where I got
Yeah. So
here.
you spoke about your mom and dad working. Now, what industry were they in?
My mom was in safety, and my dad was a conductor for the railroad.
Oh, nice. So
Yeah. So
like
my
health and safety?
yes. So she had transitioned a few different times. She was the manager of Sears in the small town that we lived in for a long time.
Yeah.
And then they built a coal plant, and my mom went out and worked at the coal plant as
Oh,
OH&S, I believe is what her title was. And then she just moved when we relocated to Edmonton. She found another company and went to work in that capacity as well. So
oh,
uh, the OH&S kind of thing definitely runs in our family, just in different
yeah.
departments.
I was gonna say that. Okay, so that's you got a little bit of mom in you.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
My mom is probably my biggest mentor, my biggest supporter as well, as is my dad. But my mom is she's very much our matriarch, uh,
Oh,
and I learned from her that don't tell me that I can't, because I'll show you that I can.
oh no.
So that stubborn streak definitely comes from her.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So what was the best advice you were given throughout your career? Like especially
Uh,
when you started?
when I started, the best advice when I first started facilitating it was kind of funny because I was incredibly shy as a student. I was incredibly shy as a young adult. Like I really was that be seen, not heard kind of human.
Yeah.
Didn't really have a voice, didn't really have a backbone. But through the changes in life, I had learned how to then advocate for myself. So the best advice I ever got was when I first started facilitating.
Okay.
And I started facilitating workshops for employability and computers. And I was so nervous to stand in front of a group of people. And my class was small, it was 6. So it's not like I had 100 people to talk to.
Right.
And I was terrified, like
Oh, that.
absolutely terrified. And my boss said to me, he said, Tracy, they don't know what you don't know.
Oh,
And I'm like, okay. He goes, so if they ask you something that you don't know, say that's a really great question. Write it down and say, you know what? I don't know the answer to that, but on break, let me see if I can find it. He said, and then on break, you go find the answer.
yeah.
But they don't know what you don't know. And the only way that they're going to know that this is your first time facilitating or you're nervous is if you tell them. Don't tell them. They don't need to know.
What great advice. And you know what? We tend to overthink things. So
Totally.
by just kind of keeping things simple, right?
Yes.
Just, be human and
Yeah.
before you know it, you get great communication. That's when we overlook everything and like read too much into stuff and worry and
Totally.
stress and you know,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
totally. And it extends like so much into outside of my professional life. It extends into my, like my little side hustle thing.
yeah.
And when I say little, I mean, I'm pretty proud of it, but
Right.
it was something that was foreign to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Completely foreign. Like sales is really not my strong suit.
Well,
Um, but I was a product of the product first. So it was really easy to be able to talk about it. But again, people don't know what you don't know.
right.
So having confidence in what you're talking about without misleading is
Yeah.
really the key for everything that I do. So,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I really wanted to ask you about your side hustle because I know in today's world, we need a lot of them,
we
right?
do.
It's
Yes,
very important because it's about supporting each other and working together and finding that common, chemistry and everything
totally.
that works well and makes a happy day. So,
Yes.
um, just a little bit about your side hustle. So, what brought you to the company you're with? So, was it interest in the the product, or was it more because you like the company values, or was it the team?
It's actually a combination of all of those things.
Oh,
So I learned about It Works through a post that my daughter had shared.
oh,
It was on their cleanse product. It's 2 days a month. Like, how easy? It's white pants approved. Like, I'm like,
yes.
let's go. Anything's going to help with bloating and, all that stuff. Let's try
Yeah.
this 2 days a month. So I'm like, okay, we're going to try this. And then I, kind of expanded into some different products and, oh, well, this can help for this and this can help for this. And, I was doing a keto diet at that time. So that coffee was really great because it was super
Oh,
easy. I could make it on the go. Big fan of bulletproof coffee, but you can't really make butter fed coffee in your car on a road trip.
right.
So our coffee came in instant packs, which I could just dump in my water, shake it up, good to go.
Yeah.
So I kind of, experimented with some of the products. I'd had some conversations back and forth. I'm like, I don't, this is, I don't know. And then I met my upline, Brianna, who is, God bless her.
Yeah.
She has been honestly a salvation. She has never quit on me when I have quit on myself.
Oh,
So what I learned over the last 3.5 years, is that this is not a hobby. It can't be a
right.
hobby.
Yeah.
If you treat it like a hobby, you will get paid like a hobby.
Yeah.
Now I am full-time employed and running a side business. So I don't have as much time to pour into it, because my full-time job is very, very important to me and I'm really, really attached to it. But I still put in the time. I still put in the effort.
Mhm.
It's a really easy system to
Yeah.
follow, like really, really easy. But saying that, sales is not easy,
Right.
right? You have to be consistent. You have to work at it. One of the things when you are promoting something is, one, you have to believe in it. Two, you
Mhm.
need to be excited about it. And three, you need to be consistent,
Oh,
because whether you are network marketing or you are bricks and mortar,
mhm.
your storefront is what draws people in, and you can't be in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out. And unfortunately, full disclosure, I have spent the last 6 months in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of trying to prioritize where I need to put my time. I
Right.
was feeling very stretched thin. I was on the road traveling 3 to 4 times a week, working full time.
Oh,
Plus, I had
wow.
a full caseload, and I was transitioning into new roles and all the things. And this was the one thing that I could push to the back.
Mhm.
However, that was a really bad decision,
Yeah.
because literally you're relaunching. After
Right.
3.5 years, I'm going to relaunch again.
Mhm.
But the beautiful thing is, if you don't quit, it doesn't matter how fast you go. It really
Right.
doesn't. Um, you can't compare your success to somebody else's. I would love to be like, well, this isn't working for me, but this girl on my team is like slaying it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm super happy for her. So you can't compete and then gauge your results off of somebody else's.
Right.
So I use that advice. They don't know what you don't know. And I really am 2025 is going to be my
You're
glow up year, I guess is what they call it,
nice.
or whatever. Because I think I'm all, scheduled for where I need to be.
All right on. That's
Yeah.
great. So you want to build a team with your side hustle and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And is
Yeah,
it open to is there any limitations? So can you have someone in Canada sign up and then maybe someone in the US and
totally. So
okay.
we are in, what are we in? 16 countries.
Oh
So
wow.
we're in Canada, the US, Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Mexico, Netherlands, Norway, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and the UK.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So Mexico, I think, is our newest country.
Yeah.
We were in Australia, but that didn't go, so they closed
Okay.
there.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as somebody is within our designated countries that we are in,
Yeah.
they can sign up. We've got trainers that are in all of our communities.
Okay.
I honestly, one of my goals is to build a UK team.
Oh,
I
that'd be
want a
cool.
European team. Um, Realizing that there would definitely be challenges with that, such as time, right? Our time change and whatnot. They have very similar products. They have a smaller product pool. But yeah, my goal for 2025 is to build a UK team.
Oh, that's
And
great.
that's not to say I'm not going to focus on Canada, the US, and the other countries. Absolutely. I
Mm.
want to be, I want my team everywhere. I want
Yeah.
to all over the place. But the UK, for whatever reason, that's my pet project for 2025.
Oh, good. Well, you're gonna do very well. I can feel it.
Oh, thank you.
That'll
I'm
be
pretty
wonderful.
excited.
Um, okay, so with the products and it works,
Mhm.
what would be the one that you would recommend the most for someone to start to try
To
to get
try.
familiar with the company and to
Okay.
have a feel for it?
For sure. As a customer, I
Mhm.
would, the very first thing is I would want to know what their goal is.
Okay.
So, while we ask the same questions to every potential client, it really is so that we can then best tailor products to help you achieve your goal. So our 30-day drop, which has our brand new burn product,
Oh,
is
okay.
probably the one that I would recommend. The burn product is getting similar results to the injectable weight loss
Oh,
meds
okay.
without throwing their names down, right?
Yep.
Because I don't want to be in
Yeah.
conflict, any of those things. So we're getting similar results from that, which is amazing.
Okay.
Price point isn't yeah, I look at the price point and I'm like having a battle with my mirror every single day,
Oh,
looking at it, I hate this. I'm just gonna
oh,
the towel and not have anybody see anything.
no.
Um, there isn't really a price point that makes you stand in front of the mirror naked going.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's overly expensive, but you have to prioritize it.
Right.
No different than buying a gym membership.
Yeah.
If you don't use it, you're still paying on it.
Right.
And the great thing is we only ask for a 90-day commitment.
Oh,
And
that's
the reason that, yeah, and the reason that we ask for 90 days is that's typically how long it takes for you to achieve or start to see your results. Because that first month is you should have results, but it's not a magic pill. Nothing we have is magic.
right.
Trust me, I wish it was.
Yeah.
And I have tried almost every product that is out there and every weight loss stream,
Mm.
diet, bad diet, all, like I've tried them all. Um, so it's consistency with that, but it's giving yourself the 90 days and realizing that I didn't put this weight on overnight. It
Hmm.
is unrealistic to expect that it's going to come off overnight.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so true.
so the product plan that I would go with is our 30-day, which
Yeah.
is has our burn product, has our TFX, which is thermogenetic product, so it
Okay.
helps boost your metabolism.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
and our aloe and coffee. Aloe is really good for
Oh,
you to reset your gut health, and it's once a day, and it's like a cap full. It tastes like mango. It's so good.
uh,
And then if you're a coffee drinker, it would be the one keto coffee in the morning.
okay.
So those combined is what I would recommend. But
Yeah.
again, it depends on what those goals are. So right now, I'm at this stage in life where I'm going through menopause.
Oh, me
So
too.
yeah, so fun, right?
Yeah.
So fun. Things that worked pre-menopause don't work for me during
Yeah.
menopause. Finding that I can look at things and gain weight and it just stays there. It
Oh,
loves me.
that's a
Um,
whole nother podcast. Let me tell you. Oh,
Totally, totally. So what I'm finding is my coffee is really good for helping boost my energy because I am tired all the damn time.
yeah.
So the coffee works really well, but with that, because it's grass fed and it's got CT oil in it,
Oh, nice.
it's only 100 calories per coffee, so it's not a lot, but you have to be careful you're not drinking all your calories as well.
Right.
So it's, kind of trying to find that balance of where's that calorie point for me and how do I, accompany what I'm trying to do to get through menopause without, truly becoming certifiable.
Yeah.
Seriously, somebody should tell us about what happens
Yeah.
during menopause. It should not be a big dark secret. And yes, I agree. That is a whole other,
Oh
whole
man.
other fun. But on that note, for anybody who's in the States, if you can get Confianza, which is through It Works, it's an herbal supplement every day. We can't get it in Canada anymore.
Okay.
That stuff is gold.
Yeah.
It controlled my hot flashes. It controlled my brain fog. It controlled my emotional roller coaster. And I think it was $60 Canadian.
Okay.
But if you're in the States, because I know you can still get it there, that is hands down, that's the stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, one can only dream.
Right?
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. Yeah, so I have another question for you.
Sure.
So we're going to veer off of the career for just a moment.
Sure.
So what is your biggest passion in life?
Honestly, if I had to think about what my passion in life is, I have so many. The one thing where I will get absolutely lost in time and space is learning new things. So my husband is First Nation and I'm not.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time studying and learning culture, traditions.
Oh,
Spent
that's
a lot of
wonderful.
time. Yeah.
That's
Spent
fantastic.
a lot of time reading the Truth and Reconciliation, the calls to action, honestly looking at them with eyes wide open and really trying to figure out, do I fit? Because I can't change the world, nor do I want to, but I can change me.
Yeah.
Which hopefully spreads out. So that's probably one of the things that I am really passionate about. The other one is making sure that the people around me, I don't even know how to say, how to actually put this in words. We all bleed red. Every human bleeds red.
Yeah.
So if the people that are surrounding me, making sure that people understand that somebody's somebody, that I have a huge passion for.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, what you are, where you've been, any of those things. I've worked with clients that in active addiction, I've worked with them on under house arrest. I've worked with them with extensive criminal records, kind of all over the place, every walk of life.
Yeah.
Unsheltered, sheltered, all the things. Ugly criminal records, everything in between. Everybody gets treated the exact same.
Right.
And I look at that in my side hustle too, is anybody can do this work. But sometimes it just takes somebody to believe in them, to just be that person, to be like, okay, you had a bad day. Let's unpack that. We aren't staying though.
Yeah.
Let's go. And I'm really good at doing that for other people.
Yeah.
Not really good at doing it for myself.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm like a do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So have you ever thought of writing I don't want to say self-help, but more like a memoir of wisdom?
I have not. If I am fully honest, I don't know. And I don't think I've ever believed that I had enough to say that was going to be worthy of anybody else hearing.
Oh,
If
really?
that makes sense. Yeah. And that wasn't from that really wasn't my growing up, because that wasn't anything that stemmed from childhood. I don't really know where that came from other than just being incredibly shy and then having a boss for 10 years that was really, really horrific. She made me really, really good at my job, and I am very, very blessed for that. But not so good for self-esteem, ego. And I get that your job, that's not their job, is to build that up. But it's certainly not their job to tear it down either.
Right.
So Yeah, so answer to that question is I've never really thought of it, and I never really thought I had anything with enough value that would be
Oh,
of
I
interest.
think so. I mean, even like writing an article,
Hmm.
like even what you said about like First Nations, how you're learning
Yeah,
and focusing on that because it encourages others,
it does. Yes.
because we have to stop the assuming in life,
Yeah,
because quite often you're 99.9% wrong when you do that.
totally. Yep.
And I think it's important that we find ways of sharing how important it is to learn before passing judgment or hurting somebody based on what you thought, not what you know.
Yeah.
I really think that, the more people should just pen little articles, and whether you post it on a message board or create a blog.
Hmm.
Hey, now that's what you should do. There you go. A
I might have to look
blog.
into that. I may look into that. It's something that's on my I need to look into list.
Yeah. Well, pin that or tape it right to your mirror in the morning so you see
Yes,
it first thing. Because I think that would be
absolutely.
wonderful.
I think I may look into that because I think that it would be a better platform for kind of just talking about all the things, but
Yeah.
also talking about some of the things that people don't want to talk about,
Yeah.
like menopause.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh man. Yeah, I'd be interested in reading it. You know, it's
I will
it's so
definitely,
important.
yeah, I'll definitely take a look. It might be something. I think it may be. I'm always looking for, I don't want to say a new way to reinvent things. But I'm very much not a scripty person. And if it
Yeah.
feels scripty or it feels spammy, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so trying to find things that are authentic to me, that are in my voice, align, kind of with the path, I guess, for lack of a better term, that I am on.
Yeah.
Um, People talk about inside hustles, they talk about you got to identify your audience, you got to identify your audience, you got to identify your audience, you got to know who you're talking to. And I totally agree. Being over 50 and trying to identify with 20 and 30-year-old potential clients or team members is a very different game.
Yeah.
Uh, because the things that I experience are very different than what they are. Yes,
Yeah.
I've been there, I got historical knowledge, all the things. But in finding that audience, honestly, I started perimenopause and menopause with as much reading as I could to
Yeah.
try and understand what was going to happen. And that didn't help.
Yeah.
It didn't
Oh,
help.
yeah. I mean, it's like playing poker.
It
You know
really
it.
is.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm going to be 57, and
Never would
so
have
it's been
guessed.
a good, oh gosh, 12 years of this already.
Oh, that's
And
wonderful.
not fun. But
No.
what I did was I captured, I guess, my shock of the first time when I had a hot flash.
Yeah.
And I've carried that moment with me the entire time. And it makes me laugh because I think I can't believe I'm old enough to be going through this stuff,
Right?
you know?
Totally.
And so
Yeah.
I start laughing at it.
Yes. Well,
It's just like,
yeah, I think you have to.
yeah,
Um, because otherwise, like I follow lots of groups and bless those women who are really, really struggling. I am very blessed to have a husband who is like, I don't understand what you're going through, but okay.
yeah,
Um, so if he wakes up in the morning and I'm sleeping in the spare bed, he's not upset. He's
yeah,
like, oh, thank God, because
yeah,
now I don't have to deal with you terrorizing the bed. Because I can't get comfortable or I'm too hot,
yeah,
right? So I'm very blessed that way to have a very supportive husband who is really, and I mean the term gentle and with love, ignorant to menopause. He knows what
yeah,
I go through.
yeah,
And he understands that there are days where I'm just going to cry because that's what I do.
yeah,
Um, right. Or I'm going to be angry or I'm going to, whatever. So he's really been really good about that. But it's tough. And you kind of have to just not spend a bunch of time reading or following or listening or researching all the negative stuff. Because
Yeah,
there's some pretty great stuff too.
there
I mean,
is.
hot flashes is not one of them though.
No.
That's not a great thing.
Oh my God.
But
Oh,
there is some pretty great stuff that happens as we transition through this
yeah.
next phase of our lives. And that's kind of where I just stay focused. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna have that for right now. And honestly, the worst hot flash I ever had was when I really just needed to have some self-care. I needed a hot bubble bath to just chill out, relax, release the entire day, and have this beautiful hot bath, and then to have a hot flash in that.
Oh,
I thought I was gonna lose my mind.
oh my, tell me about it. I can't
I'm
have
like,
a
I'm done.
shower anymore. It's just, I have to have it like lukewarm.
Hmm.
Anything sets it off. My husband
Yeah,
will come in the room and he goes, "Oh, I know I set off your hot flashes, so don't, sorry, I'll apologize
totally.
now."
Yeah, yeah. And the other worst part is honestly driving with anybody. If I'm
Oh,
driving by myself, it's not if I have to turn the furnace up, furnace
yeah,
down, furnace up,
yeah.
furnace down all day, roll the window down, that I'm okay with that. When I have somebody else in there, I have to
Oh,
suffer.
yeah.
But again,
Oh man. Yeah, well, we're definitely gonna have to have another podcast there, Tracy, and talk
for
about
sure,
we could go on and on and on.
totally
And I appreciate that. I do. It's hard when you don't have anyone to talk to, you
agreed.
know,
Yeah,
and you're trying to figure it all out on your own. And I always say to my daughter, she's 33, and I say, take notes because I didn't back in the
yeah,
day, and I wish I would have. But, take notes. This works, this doesn't. It might work for you, but just in case, here's another
yeah.
one, you know.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
So yeah, I mean it's so important, and I hope the young women who are listening to this podcast will take notes.
yes,
And it may sound silly, but trust me, we will. You're all going to be going through it one day,
yep.
and it's important to have a little bit of humor as you're
Totally.
writing those notes down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to like take somebody else's ridiculous story of how they survived whatever and
Yeah.
just go with it. Just go with
Oh
it. I
yeah.
took pictures standing out in the snow in my socks because I would like, I can't handle this heat. I need to
Yeah.
find a way to cool down. And I'm like, when your body wreaks havoc, this is what you do.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I could sit in my office and be cranky about it.
Yeah.
Or realize that it's only going to last a couple minutes, go stand outside. We
Yeah.
got snow. I mean, I couldn't imagine living in Texas with my kid
Oh.
and having hot flashes. I think that would be like
Oh.
rude and unusual punishment.
Oh, I don't know how they do it. They must have
I
some
don't either.
secret.
Yeah.
Have to dive into that. Okay, so one last question before we sign out.
Sure.
So
Sure.
with what you know now in your life, in everything, going through menopause, your career, everything, all the changes, um, what would you give little Tracy as advice?
Uh, Honestly, the advice that I would give her, because I would never want to change anything that happened because
Right.
it would lead me to a very different place than where I'm at. So honestly, the best advice I would give her is have know your worth.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Settle for nothing less than what you deserve.
Yeah.
And it is okay to walk away from things that don't serve you.
Nice.
That is probably the best advice that I would give her. And that other people's opinions don't get power
Yeah.
for you to use for your own self-worth. Because that's a battle that people have, and it's awful
Yeah.
when you are battling your self-esteem based on what somebody said.
Yeah.
Um, because unfortunately words take root and they're a little harder to eradicate than
Mhm.
physical bumps and bruises. Those
Right.
heal, scars are still there, but words kind of take root and they sit there and grow a forest that you didn't realize was growing until you're like, oh,
Yeah. I can
okay.
so relate to that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people can without really pinpointing that.
Mhm.
It takes a lot of digging in and finding out what that pain point is and where it came from.
Yeah.
So I have, just real quick, I have body image issues for sure and have had them for, oh God, since I was 13 years old
Yeah.
or even younger. And it took a lot of years to realize that it was a teacher who had said something so horrific,
Oh,
um, that actually started that whole process for my eating disorder, for, all of those things.
yeah.
Um, and now 40 some years later, I still fight those same demons, and that voice is still there. I would have sooner been hit, with a soccer ball or a basketball or a baseball bat. I would have sooner had a physical injury
Mhm.
than the mental and emotional one that it took, because it's lasted 40 some years.
Oh,
But I also now use it as a launch pad. It's like,
right
okay,
on.
yeah, you had enough power over the years to, kind of make me question my self-worth, my self-esteem, all of those things. You don't get to do that anymore, because
Yeah.
that's one of the great things as you get into that new chapter of your life.
Yeah.
It's those things no longer matter. I'm not responsible for how somebody views me. I just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want them thinking I'm a terrible human, but other people's opinions have no weight.
Right. That's so cool.
Yeah, so that's, kind of that's where that
Yeah.
advice for my younger Tracy would be: know your value, know your worth, and do not settle for less.
And build your confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never give somebody the power to steal your happiness, ever.
Right. Well, because we are in control of our own happiness. It's
Yes,
a lot of people don't understand that that other person isn't required to provide that for you. You know,
totally.
we have to do that for ourselves, and
Mhm.
that starts from day one. Like
Yeah,
all the interests that you have, like make sure you follow them. Whether they become a career or a hobby or a passion on the side, at least you're still doing something that makes you happy.
absolutely.
You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
it's
It-
so important.
yeah,
Mm.
happiness, self worth, all of those things, financial freedom, security,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff, all comes from the same place. It can only come from you. My husband can't make me happy. I mean, this can sound terrible.
yeah,
He can't make me happy. He can't make me financially secure. He can't make me feel
yeah,
self-worth. That comes from me and is reciprocated back,
right.
so that it's not, if he tells me that I'm looking really great, I'm not looking at him like, yeah, thanks. It's genuine, and I have the ability
Yeah,
to be like, oh, thanks, babe. Appreciate that.
yeah.
Right. And take that compliment. So, and I think that's what our younger people need
Mhm.
to understand as well. And it's not just our younger girls, because there's lots of boys that grow up into men who fight with the
Oh
uh,
yeah,
same demons, only it's never talked about.
right.
It, like, I don't know a man other than my husband
Yeah,
who has talked to me about feeling worth, like his self-worth feeling less, or his body image, or, all those
yeah,
things. You don't hear men talk about that. And
yeah,
if you do, it's like, what's the,
yeah,
what's your angle on this? What are you selling?
yeah.
Right. Um, so I think if we can help our younger generations, especially this one coming up where my grandbabies are in, to
Oh,
feel that self-worth and to know that they are worthy of great things.
yeah,
But you have to work for it. Nobody's going to hand it to you.
right.
I think we will have a really strong next generation coming up.
Yeah,
Because if we don't, I'm concerned.
yeah. Well, you know what? I have faith. It just
Me too.
takes to help build their confidence is key.
Mhm.
You know,
Absolutely.
and it doesn't cost
Absolutely.
anything.
No, not at all. And I have 5 grandbabies. My oldest grandson is 11. And he is just the gentlest um human. Like, he lights my whole world up.
Oh,
And then I've got 3 granddaughters in the middle. And my oldest granddaughter is a wild child. Like that
Yeah.
girl is going to move mountains. My daughter likes to say she's either going to run the country or run a gang in prison.
Oh my goodness.
My second oldest grandchild is very empathetic,
Mhm.
is very much just a natural healer. She is drawn to all of that. Like she is my barefoot gypsy child.
Oh,
My youngest granddaughter is kind of a mixture of all of that.
oh,
I think she's going to be able to move mountains as well and be a like definitely a force. She's a little feral, and I love that about her. And my baby grandson, he's only 10 months old, so I don't even know
aw.
what he's going to be, but watching them grow and develop and see these personalities and trying to help them understand and shape them is so important. And it's
Mhm.
probably the best job on the planet is being that grandparent who gets to watch them develop.
That's cool, Tracy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
You are
I
very
really
welcome.
appreciate it. And we are definitely going to do this again in another 6 months because we got a lot of stuff to cover.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us at the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast.